Yeah, I don't think it would be difficult. Don't tell I said that. Welcome back to What's All That About, a podcast where two cheeky chaps chat candidly about stuff. My name is Kelso, one of the aforementioned cheeky chaps, and with me, as always, is my dear long-time mate, Meccano Madman, and co-host Kerwin. G'day, Kerwin.
Kelso, my old friend, thank you so much, and a million welcomes to you.
Thank you very much indeed. I feel so welcome. I need your input. I want to know from you, how easy do you think it would be to organise a piss-up in a brewery? Now, for dear listener of an international flavour, perhaps they haven't heard that saying before. You're familiar with it, though, old boy?
I am, but just for the benefit of everyone else, take us through it.
So, if someone is very bad at organising something, you can criticise them by saying that that guy couldn't organise a piss-up in a brewery. Now, a piss-up being a... do we have to...
A drinking session. A drinking session.
A drinking session. So, I was wondering just the other day, how easy would it be to organise a piss-up in a brewery?
I reckon just open the doors, and there you are. You're already there, you know.
Yeah, but it's the detail, Mel. But look, for example, right, most breweries are in industrial estates. So the first stumbling block is instructions on how to get there. You're going to have to find... Have you ever tried to find something in an industrial estate? It's difficult.
It's true. They look the same. It's all sheds.
That's right. So first of all, you're going to have some complicated joining instructions, as we call them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then car parking. Where are you going to park a car? Maybe if you're going to a piss-up in a brewery, you're not driving.
I would have thought there'd be some kind of courtesy bus.
Well, yes, you'd have to organise a courtesy bus.
Yeah.
Because, let's face it, I don't know what public transport's like out to these industrial estates.
I think it's non-existent. Yeah,
No?
they don't exist. But also, maybe I'm wrong. At all these industrial, they tend to wear hard hats. That's not really the kind of thing you wear to like a piss up. So it have to be after hours. That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah. So there's another complication. You've
Timing.
got to arrange after hours.
Yeah.
After hours access to the brewery, right?
Yeah.
But talking about the hats, though, the hard hats, I hadn't thought about that. Perhaps there's some scope there to have a bit of fun, though. I'm thinking like little penises on the hard hat or something like that, you know.
Right. Sure, or the two beer cans either side of the hard hat.
Love
that.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're combining safety and also ease of drinkingness.
Two at the same time. You could be in a beer threesome.
That's right. Look at that guy. So, and it leads me to another thought. Like, breweries aren't designed for this type of activity. What are you going to do about OSH? Or what is it? Operational safety and health.
That's it.
What does OSH?
Occupational health and safety.
Health and safety.
Yeah.
There's going to be all sorts of red flags being thrown.
Well, we've got the hard hats covered. We need maybe some knee pads, mouth guards, perhaps. When the people fall flat on their face. But,
HV vests, high-vis vests. I've got more obstacles.
Okay.
Right? There's no space in a brewery for a piss-up. Presumably, a brewery is filled up full of vats and, beakers and those little distillation things.
Wait, what's an eaker?
No, a beaker.
Oh, a beaker, right.
A beaker, like in science class. Sure, them... Okay. Now, sure, there might be a loading dock, but is that where you want to have a piss up?
I weren't starting to think that you're mistaking breweries for the Dr. Evil's evil laboratory in Austin Powers.
Well, I know for sure there's no room to turn around one of those electric carts.
The golf cart, yeah. Actually, although, I mean, look, I hate to be a real stickler here, but, where I live, every sort of drinking establishment these days is what's known as a microbrewery.
Yes, but that's a different saying. Piss up in a brewery, not piss up in a brew pub or a microbrewery.
Yeah, you're right.
But so I appreciate you exploring that angle. I've thought about this.
I couldn't, you got to, no stone unturned here at What's All That About? Also, how about this? Chips. You're going to need chips.
Well, I've got down here food.
Food, okay, yep. Tell me.
You're on an industrial estate.
Yeah.
Right. There's no cafeteria in a brewery, as far as I'm aware. I suppose it's possible they might have one of those machines, like a put in your money machine. But then you'd have to operate that, so you'd have to have those skills.
Unless you've got a good relationship going with a pie van operator, maybe that's the best you could hope for.
A smoko truck.
A smoko truck. Do we have to explain that to the international listener, the smoko truck?
Almost certainly.
Almost. So give us a big swing, Kelso. Let's. Smoko truck 101.
Well, smoko is slang for a morning tea or a break.
Yeah.
And so, in at least what part of the world we come from, on these industrial estates, because there was not necessarily a pie shop around the corner or a McDonald's, you'd have a van that was full of food who would load up his van in the morning full of food, and they used to have even like hot food available because they'd have like a warmer inside of the van somehow, run off a battery perhaps. And a fridge.
For sure, yeah. Probably with two big claws hooked to the battery in the front of the engine there, just to
something like that.
A little oven in the back, yeah.
Or a small boy on a treadmill on a cycle in the back somehow.
Yeah, you could get like pies, sausage rolls, and there'd be a fridge as well. We get a can of Coke and maybe a Kit Kat.
Flavoured milk, very popular in Australia.
Absolutely, yeah.
Anyway,
so
that was
maybe we get one of those.
Yeah, that was the smoko van. So when the factories would have their planned smokos, the van would go around and it would arrive at roughly the right time. Or maybe they even took the smoko when the van turned up, because it'd be very difficult to coordinate that. Talk about things that are not easy to organise. Imagine turning up at the right time for smoko.
That's true. In those industrial areas where the smoko van would visit, you'd have to sort of organise that smokos.
Yeah.
Each place would have their smokos like 10 minutes apart.
That's right. And then also, what happens if one of the guys is lingering? He can't quite decide on whether it's going to be a can of lemon Solo or a pink flavoured milk. And he's, I've got to shut up shop, mate. I'm due down the road in 5 minutes at the
the windscreen repair. Yeah.
Smoko van.
Smoko van. There it is. We got it.
So, dear listener, you should try that out at work next time when it's time for a break. Maybe ask your colleagues if they like to go on a smoko, or maybe you already do, dear listener.
Yeah, exactly.
Good chance.
Yeah, and if they don't, you get to be that guy that explains a smoko van to a crowd of enthusiastic onlookers.
And then once you've explained it, you can say, well, it sounded much more interesting on the podcast.
Yeah. If you want to hear more about smoko van, just don't forget to tune into What's All That About with Kerwin and Kelso.
And then to put the final boot in the suggesting it's easy to organise a piss-up in a brewery, when people want to get home, if you haven't organised a courtesy bus and there's no room in the smoko van for everyone to get home, then the poor old taxis have got to find their way into the industrial estate. Madness.
Or the other alternative is you could advise everyone, if you're that's coming to the piss up in a brewery, to bring a sleeping bag.
But where are they going to lie down? On the loading dock? On the hard concrete?
The hard concrete. Yeah. Well, look. I mean, I suppose if you've had a lot to drink, As I've seen with my own eyes, it doesn't matter where you land.
Maybe it'd be easy if the brewery had you know how sometimes those industrial complexes have a small little office at the front. That could be carpeted and perhaps have a small 2-seater couch.
Well, sometimes they have this impossibly manicured piece of lawn out the front that like a makeshift natural mattress, you know. Yeah, look, we've all fallen asleep on a patch of grass somewhere, you know. Mm.
Or perhaps you're lucky enough that your brewery is situated next door to an upholsterer's or something along those lines that would be suitable for invasion and...
a mattress manufacturer.
Yeah. What else might be suitable that could be next door in an industrial estate?
Some kind of industrial foam maker, you know?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So someone who works in canvas. There was actually in our hometown, I was associated through family friends with a guy who ran a company who all they did was make huge canvas awnings and tents and whatnot. But with loads of canvas lying around.
There you go. Or what about some kind of battery hen farm? You could just sleep on a whole load of chickens.
Interesting.
Comfortable, if you don't mind the pecking, of course.
And you can get them to hold still.
Exactly. Don't run away. I just got comfortable.
I'm using this cock as a pillow. And when I say cock, dear listener.
Oh.
Kerwin, there's been some changes at the What's All That About offices. We've secured an intern.
Right, well, I mean, it's about time, I guess, yeah.
Yeah, well, it was news to me. I didn't know we had put the news out for an intern, but we've got one.
She just turned up.
Yeah. So her name is Rozelle, and she'll be working in the office. So if you see her around the corridors, dear listener, be friendly. Yeah. Nothing overtly crude or not too many in-jokes. I'm not sure she'll follow you.
No in-jokes. Well, look, she's a lovely girl, but she couldn't organise a piss-up at a brewery, let's be honest.
Or we're about to find that out. Notice she smelt a little bit of talc this morning, I thought. But,
Call back. Call back alert.
Yeah. So welcome to the show, Rozelle. Dear listener, make Rozelle feel welcome. And, well, we needed something for Rozelle to do. So after we had her muck out
the stables.
office, the stables. Kerwin's office, yes, and make sure... well, we warned her off listening to some of the back episodes. We don't want too many secrets getting out. Rozelle came across some interesting articles that she wanted to ask the question, what's all that about?
I like the sound of that. That she's doing some heavy lifting for us, Kel, so I don't mind that. Because we're getting on.
I hope she's bending at the knees. Ooh.
Right. Ooh, matron.
Let me open this one up and see what we've got here.
Okay, she's been sending us, interesting tidbits, I believe.
Oh. Here's an interesting article Rozelle's researched. Couple mistakes abstract painting for an interactive exhibit and paints over the artist's work. What's all that about? Okay, let's have a look here. The painting was displayed alongside the paint cans and brushes that the artist used to make it. Well, I can see where they went wrong here. Which the couple took as an invitation to collaborate. Wow. I think that's fair enough, don't you?
Why wouldn't you?
That's pretty straightforward stuff. I'm not sure why this made the news.
So hang on. Let's take it back. I'm already confounded. So start again.
Are you saying, Kerwin, on the podcast, what's all that about?
What's all that about? Literally, yeah.
Could I have that all about again?
Yeah, I'm starting to feel like that I work in a brewery and someone just asked me to organise a piss up.
Yeah. Have you got the number for the upholstery factory next door? Look, I'll start again then, shall I?
Start again, yeah.
Couples mistake abstract painting for an interactive exhibit and paint over the artist's work.
Oh.
So what happened? So they walked in, and here's this giant painting. It looks like it's on a wall, right?
In an art gallery. In an art gallery, I'm assuming.
Well, that's not clear. We'll have to find that.
Okay, right. Maybe I'm getting ahead of the reveal here. Okay.
But the thing is, as a bit of a what's the word? A nice touch, or what's that French word that means ahead of its time? Avant-garde.
Avant-garde.
Touch. Yeah. The painting was displayed alongside the paint cans and brushes that the artist used to make it. Okay, so they've taken a bit of how can we make this a bit more interesting? You know what it reminds me of? Is nowadays, if anyone does a drawing or a painting and they put it on the internet, they've got to take the photo with their pencil still kind of half on the drawing to indicate to you that it's a drawing.
Yes, yeah. Okay, yes, yeah.
Anyway, so this couple walked into the exhibit, seen this painting on the wall, and all the paint cans and whatnot are out on the floor. They're sitting on the floor, the paint cans and the paint brushes in front of this, and it looks like almost like a mural, I'd call it. It's not like a huge wall. And, well, here's the rest. The young couple made the mistake of a lifetime. They went to, I'm paraphrasing here. I was inside of a mall, okay, and then they found the rather eye-catching painting in the street noise exhibit, taking the paint buckets and brushes lying below the work. As an invitation to collaborate, they happily contributed a few strokes of their own and ruined a $440,000 painting.
$440,000.
Apparently.
Well, was it not finished? Why did any explanation why the paint and the brushes?
Sounds like you're just as confused as the South Korean couple, mate.
Well, it sounds like, have you heard of this thing? It's called a paint and sip. It's like a whole bunch of people get together and they'll paint and just basically get drunk while they paint. It's a bit of a get-together activity, for
okay.
Team
people
building. With kids. Yeah. No, well, yeah, that too. But people with kids that need an excuse to drink. You can't just go and, down a bottle of wine. But if you say, oh, it's a painting thing, and you get to have wine with it, it kind of...
Paint and sip.
Paint and sip. So maybe they thought they were at a paint and sip. But yeah, I've also been to a lot of modern art gallery installation things where there is an invitation from the public to put in their 2 cents. So maybe they thought, but I think I need more information.
Oh, let's see if there's any more.
Is there any more?
The anonymous 20-something couple, I haven't given their names out, was entirely oblivious to the fact that they had just become vandals. They genuinely believed it was a participatory work because of the paint and brushes underneath.
Well, I'm going to need to see if the painting in its original state to see if what they did was any improvement or not on it. Because sometimes I have to say, modern art, it's
it's very much in that category. Because I'm looking at a picture of it, which is in the article, and it's very much in the style of Jackson Pollock.
Well, I was going to say, if it was a Jackson Pollock and they just put a couple extra dribbles on, would anyone have noticed?
Surely the only person that would notice would be Jackson Pollock.
Exactly. If you, were looking at a Jackson Pollock and, I don't know, for some reason you had a bloody nose and you wiped it and flicked it onto the painting and a couple of splotches of red went on there, would anyone walk past and go, hey, something's not right?
Indeed.
So, maybe they improved it.
Yeah. The painting had been displayed this way since 2016 when American graffiti artist John Andrew Pirello finished it before an audience for the Great Graffiti Show. I can't say graffiti, I'm saying graffiti again.
Graffiti.
Graffiti.
Graffiti, there we go. Oh, so the guy that left the paint out was the artist, so... it's his fault, really.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to blame this on the curator.
Well, the whole organisation needs to take a look at it. They need a root and branch investigation. Like, what kind of person leaves a paintbrush and paint in a gallery, and then goes, "Oh, what? Yeah. Oh, we didn't think that was going to happen."
What's interesting, it says the painting had been displayed since 2016. Surely the paint would have dried up. I'm amazed anything was still available to be ruined.
And so when was it ruined? So 2016 it was displayed. Wow. When was it ruined? Like, was there a 2-year gap?
No, it's like a 5-year gap.
5 years. So this guy did what, 90% of a painting. 5 years later, comes in with a paintbrush and some paints, finishes it off, and then just leaves all his shit lying around, and then wonders why someone...
No, I get the impression he did it all in 2016, and ever since then it's been displayed in an avant-garde fashion with paint and paintbrushes lying around in front of it. That's part of the display. That's part of the installation, mate.
Right, I get what you're saying. So the actual paint in the paint, pots, the pots of paint, they've all dried out like a dry riverbed.
I'll tell you what, dear listener, if you pop into my shed, you won't find any cans of paint still open from 2016 being usable. Whether it's to ruin a $500,000 extra installation or not.
Although if you popped into the shed of my dad when I was a kid, you would have found about 6 or 7 old jam jars with paintbrushes sitting in them, filled with turpentine. My dad... You're just sitting there. Maybe I'll use this again one day.
Dads always have ready access to turpentine. Have you noticed that?
They do. They love turpentine. I've never owned any turpentine myself. That's just something that just dads own. I guess it's for getting paint off paintbrushes, I assume. But like, my dad just left them in there. Like, I'll finish this off later. Like in 2 years' time, he's just going to take it out, shake it off, and go and finish the side of the shed. Anyway,
in a similar fashion to paint, doesn't turpentine evaporate quite quickly, being like a spirit? So I'm surprised that was still hanging around.
I don't know. I think turpentine is made from a tree, isn't it?
For some reason, I think it's a petrochemical. So we're coming at from completely different.
This might be worth a Google shit, Castle. I'm pretty sure turpentine comes from a tree. I'm gonna lay down a bet here. I hope I'm right. This is my whole reputation.
Right. Turpentine. What's all that about?
We're getting into some nitty gritty now, dear listener.
Oh, back of the net from Kerwin of the podcast. Turpentine.
Whoosh.
Is a fluid obtained by the distillation of resin harvested from living trees. My word, I never would have guessed that in a million years, or even in a 3 multiple choice question.
I guess that's why paintbrushes feel so comfortable in turpentine.
Yeah, well, who knows? No doubt dads do, fathers. Now, just to finish off this article, the article finishes off by saying the artist has decided not to respond to the incident, and the final sentence says, the culprits were caught.
Congratulations on a job well done.
What's all that about?
What's that?
Hello, no one is available to take your call. Please leave a message after the tone.
Hey guys, so I was able to organise that piss up in a brewery. It was pretty easy, actually. I found this really nice artesian brew house. It has got a $5,000 deposit, though. Should I just take that out of the podcast account? Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and do that. Okay, bye.
Kelso, I've just been handed a newsflash here. Newsflash from Rozelle, our new...
well, hang on. Rozelle's flashing you with her tidbits.
Yeah, I'm sorry, mate.
Crikey.
She likes the cut of my jib. And this one is headlined, "This case will be a hoot!" Exclamation mark.
Can I guess?
Go on, have a guess. Guess who's going to be the protagonist, or the antagonist, I should say.
Oh, the antagonist.
This tale. Yeah.
I'm going to guess that an owl has stolen the keys to a brewery.
You got the first part right. So here we go. A 67-year-old man tried to convince a judge that he would be defended in court by a stuffed owl with a Harvard degree. I'm already invested fully in this. Okay.
This owl is both stuffed but qualified.
I know, man. It's not so. Yeah, it's embarrassing that there's a stuffed animal out there that is way more qualified to do anything than you or I. So basically, is Conan O'Brien and this owl are the only two people I know that have gone to Harvard. Okay, so Charles Abbott from Aspen, Colorado, set the toy, they're calling it a toy, on a desk in front of him at the Pitkin County Courthouse that week, in the hope that it would help him resolve a dispute over a protection order. Abbott, who was in court after allegedly stealing from his old roommate's home, described the fuzzy-horned owl, whose name is Solomon. Solomon the stuffed owl. He described the fuzzy-horned owl, his name is Solomon, as a, quote, very sensitive guy.
So please don't mention the fact that he's stuffed.
Exactly. Yeah, shh. He said the owl has a law degree from Yale, Harvard, and Stanford, and argued that he would be able to represent him until he could be found a public defender. According to the Aspen Times, it's all those in Colorado, they smoke heaps of weed there. The judge took no notice of the stuffed animal and kept on with the case.
Now, do you think it's possible that this chap has mixed up this stuffed owl for Foghorn Leghorn? Who, as I'm pretty sure, being a southern gentleman, who he then mixed up for a southern lawyer that you normally see in these Mr. Jones went to Washington.
Yeah,
Am I making sense?
To Kill a Mockingbird. I know what you mean. Yeah. Look, I'm looking at the article that Rozelle sent us, and I'm staring into the eyes of Mr. Charles Abbott, and I think there's a pretty good chance. Okay, so it goes on. The newspaper reported that Abbott wound up in court after allegedly breaking a protecting order designed to keep him away from the 75-year-old Michael Stranahan, who he used to live with. So basically, old guy's having a bit of a tiff. It's like Walter Matthau and Jack Lemmon.
Probably over the stuffed owl. Access to the stuffed owl.
It's a love triangle. Abbott claims that... Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I wonder if he's conflated the fact that the owl was called Solomon with the historical, perhaps, figure of Solomon the Wise.
Right. Well, that's probably why they called him that, do you reckon? Because he's a wise owl. Do you reckon that's
he does have 3 law degrees from quite an impressive listing of schools as well, wasn't it? Harvard and University of Colorado, was it? No.
The funniest thing about this article that Rozelle has sent us, and unfortunately this the podcast medium does not allow for this, but I did find it funny, that they've included a photo of Solomon in the article. Oh. But for privacy
reasons,
they've only taken the photo from behind. You can't see Solomon's face. So fortunately, he just looks like a dirty rag.
Now, it might have been that Solomon argued the case that his face should not appear in the article.
Keep my face out of it. It goes on. Abbott claims he was only at the house to retrieve some belongings, while Stranahan said that Abbott actually took some of his possessions too. While in court, Abbott also accused Stranahan of having stolen a flannel shirt from LL Bean and wearing it to the hearing. According to the Times,
Brutus.
Yeah, this story is as old as time. This is Cain and Abel. So it finishes saying, according to the Times, the dispute dates back to an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting earlier this month where Abbott allegedly assaulted Stranahan, who then threw him out.
And that's when he first met Solomon the Wise, who became his sponsor.
Yeah, this is often it's the owls that suffer in these kinds of disputes.
And before they know it, they're before a district court judge in Colorado Springs.
Look, I am thankful though that this article protected the identity of the owl. Just so it could go about its life and not be yelled at it from across the street.
Yeah, because there's not that many fuzzy horned owls going around, to be honest, especially ones with law degrees from Harvard.
Well, you can imagine that owl walking down the street and all the head turning from the owls, because those owls can really turn their head, can't they?
Do owls walk?
Maybe flying, just from branch to branch.
For some reason, I think they do those little hops, little hop, hop, hop. Too much time on Imager, dear listener.
Yeah, we should, dear listeners, reiterate that owl was stuffed. It was not a living owl. It was a taxidermied owl that these two gentlemen were fighting over. Look, alcohol is a terrible, terrible drug.
There was no, hang on. The offence wasn't stealing Solomon, was it? Solomon was just being pushed forward by one of the defendants as his...
as his
attorney
lawyer.
at law.
His lawyer, that's right. Sorry.
Now I shall convince the court on today.
Yes. Objection. Sustained.
Objection, Your Honour.
I rest my whoo.
There must be a joke in there somewhere.
No, there is. I can't find it, but there's one there. Let's just say we found it.
Right, well, I'm not trying to make this a game here, or a competition, Kerwin, but I've managed to get a bit of Rozelle's tidbits myself. So let's see what this one says. The heading is Dutch Family Waiting for End of Time, Found in a Secret Room. Oh, goodness.
You had me at Dutch.
I was going to say, Dutch family waiting for end of time found in secret room. Yeah, I think if I was going to be waiting for the end of time in a secret room, I'd want to be in Holland.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Well, what I would say is I would want to provision my secret room from Holland before I went in there and waited for the end of time.
Right. No, I agree. Am I invited to your secret room to wait till for the end of time?
Well, I'll have to double the rations, and you know which ration in particular I'm talking about.
I believe I do, yes.
Oh, this is going to be more difficult than organising a piss-up in a brewery. I'm going to have to extend the storage cupboard somewhat.
I'll help you dig if you need me to. I mean, I'm assuming it's underground.
Oh,
anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself here. Let me I'll let you roll it out.
Yeah. Yeah, we might be able to, really understand where they're coming from. Waiting for end of time, found in a secret room. Let's see what the details are. A family who spent 9 years on a farm waiting for the end of time, and now that's in quotes just to make it clear that the BBC that this is on aren't indicating that this is a reasonable thing to do. A family who spent 9 years on a farm waiting for the end of time, in quotes.
Oh, sorry, Kelso. Which bit is in quotes?
Okay, I'll read it like a normal person would.
Okay.
A family who spent 9 years on a farm, open quotes, waiting for the end of time, end quotes.
Right.
Have been discovered by police in the Netherlands after one of them turned up at a local pub.
Right.
Now, hang on. First of all, that confused me. We've gone from waiting in a secret room to on a farm. Spent 9 years on a farm.
Oh, okay. Well, and plus, I guess the quotation marks is the BBC's way of saying they're no way insinuating that there is an actual end of time.
Well, it seems. Did they actually?
There's no proof of an end of time.
A man of 58. He popped up at the pub, and that broke the spell. Apparently.
Oh look, I mean, put it this way, Kelso. If you and I are waiting for the end of time, we'd probably make a couple of trips to the pub in between now and then.
Especially if I hadn't been able to organise the provisions quite as robustly as one had hoped. All right, now this leads us down the path. I think I might understand what's going here. A man of 58. A man of 58. Kate, take note of the ages here, dear listener. A man of 58 and 6 young adults, aged 18 to 25, are living at the farm. I wonder who orchestrated this whole thing. Whoa! I've dropped my pen, dear listener. Don't worry. It's okay. A man of 58 and 6 young adults aged 18 to 25. Now, before we read on, I wonder how many of these 18 to 25-year-olds happen to be buxom blondes. Not that I've got anything against non-buxom brunettes. In fact,
look, I believe it's one of the best exports of the Netherlands is buxom blondes.
Non-buxom brunettes?
No, well, just buxom anythings.
Oh. They're very tall. They're one of the tallest nationalities.
Well, I've never been there. You have been there, haven't you? I guess
I have been there, and they are very tall. It's because there's no hills. I assume.
Makes perfect sense. Yes. Okay.
Right. But it is a family. Okay, so there's no. We want to assume there's no hanky panky.
Well,
the family.
Look, either way, it's either cool or way not cool.
or very uncool. The family were found after the eldest of the children ordered beer at a bar in the nearby village. Right. The eldest of the children ordered beer at a bar. I wonder what that set the alarms ringing. Hang on a second.
Some tongues wagging, okay. Mm-hmm.
Everyone around here drinks wine. Okay, I'm going to guess that. So, if you're the oldest of the children who are aged 18 to 25, and they'd been locked up for 9 years, so maybe the fact that a kid no one had seen since he was, what does that make him, 16, all of a sudden popped up and ordered a beer.
So I imagine he was like wearing a t-shirt and jeans that no longer fit him, and sort of he was bursting out of like he was the Hulk or something. It would have turned a few heads.
He was. He was
wearing a Choose Life, a Wham t-shirt that was no longer fit him.
He was wearing a Def Leppard t-shirt and one of those huge big baggy jeans. You know those huge big baggy jeans that were in fashion?
Yeah, he was wearing a Def Leppard shirt unironically.
Now, we will say, dear listener, that nothing wrong with Def Leppard. I'll pour some sugar on me.
Oh, just have a listen to.
Not you, Rozelle.
Absolutely. The whole Listeria album was a work of art.
Right, so anyways, he popped up and he's ordered a beer, and that's... How did he raise the... He then told... he then told staff he needed help, so it wasn't his attire. I like how he ordered the beer first, and then said, I need help. Which order would you have done it in, Kerwin?
I think I would have done it in that order too. I would have went a beer, take a big slug of it, then went, okay, I need some help.
Right, yes. Dutch courage. Right, we found 6 people living in a small space in the house which could be locked but wasn't a basement. So it wasn't a basement. Sorry about that, Kerwin.
So it's just a house.
That's what the police said. We found 6 people living in a small space in the house which could be locked but wasn't a basement.
So how did they know that room was going to protect them from the... Okay, sorry, hang on. Okay.
No, go ahead. What were you going to say?
No, I was just going to say a small room, how would that protect them from the end of time? But I feel like maybe I'm getting ahead of it here. I feel like you're about to set me straight.
Go. guess what, dear listener? It was exactly as you expected. Next line says, the older man has been arrested. Oh dear.
Oh dear. 9 years in a Dutch oven, that's what... No wonder he wanted a beer. That's the first thing I would do. A beer and a change of clothes. Hot shower.
Yeah, so I think we'll leave it there. There's no point going any further. I think on that one.
I don't know. It takes a bit of an unsavoury turn, I'm sure, from that.
Oh, hang on. Actually,
Wait, there's more.
We will add
PS.
in a bit more. We will
Newsflash.
add in a bit
Yeah.
more. I'll skip over some of the rest because you can imagine blah blah blah.
Yeah. We all know.
There's a point here where you should say,
Two-headed babies, all that. Yeah.
the bar owner described. Now, this is I want to read this because it's particularly pertinent to what we've been talking about. Bar owner described how a man had come in, ordered 5 beers, and drunk them.
Without saying a word.
He had long hair, a dirty beard, wore old clothes, and looked confused. So he probably was wearing a Def Leppard t-shirt.
Def Leppard shirt, yeah, for sure. Hysteria.
Hello, no one is available to take your call. Please leave a message after the tone.
Hey guys, so I kinda stuffed up when I ordered that t-shirt you wanted. Yeah, I got a blind melon tee. Sorry, I should have known my granddad really loves Def Leppard. Also, I asked around about where I can find a Dutch oven. Everyone was really weird about it. All good though, my big bro said he'll give me one next week. For free. Okay, bye.
Kelso, Rozelle has sent me another Barnstormer in my inbox here. Shall I read the title, or maybe I should just get into it? I'll get into it. This one comes from Oklahoma City.
Let me hold you up there. Let me hold you.
Yeah.
Roselle's barnstorming your inbox? Man.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, she's blowing up my inbox. That's what we hired her for. I'm pretty sure one of the requirements of when we hired her was please blow up our inboxes. Barnstorm if you can.
Or wording to that effect.
Yeah, what is a barnstorm? Shall we do a quick go? Like, is that where like a biplane from World War I flies through a barn?
Yeah, what does barnstorming mean? That's what you're
Do you
saying.
reckon you could do it just quickly before we get into this one?
Barnstorming? Yeah, meaning. Here we go.
Barnstorming.
Flamboyantly energetic and successful. Well, that does summarise Rozelle.
It does, but I feel like, is there a second meaning? You know, sometimes they give you a couple. I feel like there's a World War I meaning to barnstorming.
Oh, okay. Okay, another one. It's not to do with Oh, no, here we go. In the past, to barnstorm was to travel to a lot of small towns and perform flying tricks in aircraft.
Ah, nice.
Well, I can see Rozelle in a biplane.
Yeah, they go up diddly up and down diddly on down.
Well, there's going to be no diddling in this office. I'll get you in trouble with HR.
2021, yeah.
But hang on, I found one more. To travel, barnstorm, to travel to a lot of small towns and make political speeches to try to get people's votes or support.
Oh yeah, well that makes sense. I think I've heard, yeah, okay.
Well, that's kind of in line with the first definition, which was flamboyantly energetic and successful, which, let's face it, does summarise Rozelle around the hallways of what's all that about offices.
What's all that about? The offices, yeah. So I'm glad at least that my use of that word was kind of right. Okay, cool. Okay, so let's return to Oklahoma City, in, I guess, Oklahoma. Oklahoma man was...
Well, actually, I think you'll find that Oklahoma City is in Kansas.
Oh, no.
It's a weird one. Hang on, let me...
Google shit.
Oh, no, sorry.
No,
Oklahoma
this is like
City,
Kansas City that's actually in...
Oklahoma. It's very confusing for us international.
That's how Trump got it wrong.
Come on, You'll understand, dear listener. Kansas City's in Missouri. My goodness.
Oh,
now, hang on. Does that mean Missouri City's in Kansas?
Look, it's a mixed up, muddled up, shook up world.
It sure is. Where will the pieces lie? Where will the pieces fall? No idea, but it will be Rozelle's job to put them back together. All right, what have we got?
Well, okay, so it's a little article I got here of Oklahoma City in Missouri. No?
No.
It was Oklahoma. Did we get to the bottom of that?
Oklahoma City's in Oklahoma.
Oh, okay. Well, that is confusing. It shouldn't be, but it is.
It shouldn't be in Oklahoma, or it shouldn't be confusing?
It should be confusing.
Dear listener, if you know where Oklahoma, which state Oklahoma City is situated, tweet in at Podcast KAK.
Look, okay, so an Oklahoma man, and I'm looking at a picture of this guy, and he's, let's just say, he's a bit of an unsavory character. Let me just
so his
make that judgment.
His facial profile hasn't been blurred out, so
No.
Al gets more courtesy than this Oklahoman.
No, this particular mugshot that's featured in the article has the Oklahoma man, and his eyes are staring straight into my soul. And which is why this next sentence might chill you to your bones.
Right. I wouldn't be surprised if I get chilled to my bones, because the winds do come sweeping down the plains.
You get extra points for a musical reference, I think.
Thank you very much. I'm pretty sure Rozelle will enjoy that.
Can you sing the line? If you get even bonus points for singing it.
Oh, where the winds come rushing down the plains. How's that?
Oklahoma. Yeah. Okay, so I think we've...
What's the next
we've
line?
Insulted Oklahoma a lot. The next line of my article of the song, I have no idea.
No, I
about both.
I do apologise.
Let's
We're getting
Google
a lot
that.
of
We gotta
Google
Google
shit
that.
here, dear listener. But where the winds come rushing,
Rushing down, sweeping down the plains. What's the wind comes sweeping down the plains?
I hope it's not. I hope I haven't got it wrong. Hammerstein will never forgive me.
Hammerstein, forget him. Rogers wrote the lyrics.
Okay, well, but Hammerstein's still got to. It will have something to say.
No, actually, no. I think it was Hammerstein that wrote the lyrics. I think Rogers was the music guy.
Alright, okay, well, dear listener, tweet in if we got it wrong. Oklahoma, where the wind comes sweeping down the plain, and the waving wheat can sure smell sweet when the wind comes right behind the rain. Sorry, dear listener.
Oh, that was great. That was nice. I felt like I was on Broadway, as they say it in Broadway.
I feel like one dear listener at least pulled at least one of their earphones out of their ears and shook their head on the bus.
I thought you were going to say they tipped their Stetson hat.
Who would have thought? Two cheeky chaps. Right.
Okay, let's go back to Oklahoma City. And an Oklahoma man that we were just talking about, this unsavory character, was sentenced late on a Thursday, I guess, whatever Thursday, to 30 years prison for asphyxiating his stepfather with an atomic wedgie in December 2013.
Whoa.
An atomic wedgie.
Wow.
Now, do we need to explain a wedgie then and an atomic wedgie? Just someone that, hasn't...
Well, it can't
doesn't
hurt.
know. I mean, where do we go?
Can't hurt.
Well, people from... It's a Seinfeld thing, isn't it? Is that the atomic wedgie thing?
I think it might be right. I think
so
you're right.
A wedgie is just pulling your underpants up the back, and
not
really
your
wedging it
underpants,
into
someone
your-
else's underpants.
Yeah, well, yeah, an
If you're doing it to
unsuspecting,
yourself, I guess there probably are some people that do that to themselves, I imagine.
Well, yeah, I get what kind of person would do that. You got to ask yourself. But yes, basically just ripping out pulling it up past your pants, and basically driving the gusset of your underpants right up your bum crack. And I believe an atomic wedgie is when you do it and the elastic band of the underpants get pulled up over the head. Is that right, Kelsey?
Yeah.
Are we going to have to do another Google shit? I haven't even got through one paragraph here. Done like 4 Google shits.
I think it's incumbent on us to, we're pulling the facts here. Atomic.
Yeah, I think if we're bringing you the news, dear listener, we have to get it straight.
Meaning, okay. All right, here we go. Now this is very helpful that Wiktionary.org has said, define it for me. Atomic wedgie, but then in brackets put plural atomic wedgies. That's nice.
Right.
Just to make it clear.
So it's happened to this poor guy more than once.
You know what? When I Googled this, the second picture that pops up is a very distraught-looking man, very much like a mugshot, and he looks very Oklahoman. I bet this is the same dude. Is there a brick wall behind him? And he's
There's
got
a brick
orange,
wall. Yeah, his name is Bradley Davis.
His receding hairline.
Yeah, we're looking at the same guy.
He does not.
The same
does
unfortunate
not,
guy. He's the face of the atomic wedgie.
He does not look pleased about the fact.
He's just wishing he could take it all back.
It's a prank in which a person's underpants are pulled up sharply from behind, up over the head or higher, in order to wedge the clothing. That's not right. That's just a wedgie.
No, the wedgie is just pulling it up. I believe the atomic is up and over the head.
That's what I'm saying. This definition of an atomic wedgie doesn't include that part. Okay,
I don't think so. If you're Googling atomic wedgie, they're not breaking it down into the different increments of wedgie.
No, here we go. Urban dictionaries come to the rescue.
As usual.
I like this definition. Atomic wedgie. When one is still in underwear, very important point. When one is still in underwear and someone pulls up on the waistband and tries to pull it over the receiver's head. The receiver.
Okay. The receiver. The wedgie.
Not the wedgeaw. Now, as is customary with Urban Dictionary, I do have to read out the example. Man, my friend, came over while my parents were out at the time. Then he gave me an atomic wedgie. After that, he duct taped my hands to my chest, my legs together, and the wedgie to my head. This doesn't make any sense, so I have to cut this out. He also duct taped me to the floor under my bed. It was summer, and my parents didn't find me till 3 days past. It hurt.
That was the most extreme example of atomic wedgie. Use it in a sentence. Yeah, no.
Yeah, no, that he failed there. Good definition, though. Right, atomic wedgie.
Yeah, that's good. Well, yeah, so he was sentenced to 30 years in prison for asphyxiating his...
So he killed him by...
Asphyxiating his stepfather with an atomic wedgie. And I guess, now for the news in detail. Bradley Davis, 35, of McLeod, I'm assuming in Oklahoma, pleaded guilty to first-degree manslaughter in May of 2013. The death of his stepfather. I mean, Potawatomi County. I think I'm pronouncing that right. I'm sorry to any Potawatomians.
I hope you're pronouncing that right.
But Potawatomi County District Judge John G. Canavan Jr. rejected Davis's plea for a second chance. Davis said he knocked down his stepfather, whose name is Denver Lee St. Clair,
Whoa,
pulled the elastic... Yeah, I know. What a great name. That's
he sounds like he should be running a plantation.
Yeah, he was asking for an atomic wedgie. So Denver Lee St. Clair, 58 he was, so, you know. Yeah,
same age as that mucky Dutch guy.
Yeah, they could have been friends. Maybe they went to school together. And pull the elastic band of his underwear over his head and around his neck. This left, see, that's the atomic wedgie. Just a normal wedgie would have just left him with a bit of chafe and a lot of humiliation.
Well, I think you'll find that's what this chap did was an atomic wedgie with pike. Oh,
with a little bit extra, right?
Yeah, because it was the wrapping around the neck. Because I mean, normally you're quite pressed to get it over the head, but he's wrapped it around the neck.
So this is a super atomic wedgie.
What size were these underpants being worn by Denver Lee Sinclair? My goodness,
I know, they're enormous. Very, very good underpants too. They're kind of
or they were simply ginormous.
Because like some of the wear and tear that my underpants get just from wearing them, you know.
And the tearing.
let alone the tearing, the holes. You know, just from wearing them, let alone, I've never been a wedgied or indeed atomic or superatomic wedgied, and I would have
Wow.
thought if someone pulled him like just a little bit, the whole thing would just rip off before I was asphyxiated. But so this left ligature marks on the victim, according to police.
Well, I'm not
the medical
surprised.
examiner
Would have left a few other marks too, I dare say.
the medical examiner, which again, poor guy, stated the cause of death as blunt force trauma and asphyxiation, death by underpants.
Why? Fronts?
Oh, Kelso. Okay, we're about to get into the Y fronts. Davis and Sinclair.
Hang on, I'm not getting into those Y fronts no matter what you offer me.
It's the Y and the where fronts. The Davis and Sinclair had been drinking together the night of the incident, as they call it, the incident, and began fighting when Davis claimed Sinclair began speaking ill about Davis's mother, who was Sinclair's wife, which makes sense. But Davis had never intended to kill Sinclair, said Davis's attorney, Bob Wyatt. Davis was initially charged of first-degree murder and pleaded guilty to the lesser charge of manslaughter. Oh, well, at least there's a happy ending.
Well, as I understand it, to be charged with murder, they have to prove that it was premeditated. Is that right? And then manslaughter is, well, you killed him, but you didn't plan on doing it.
Yeah,
Now,
I mean...
I think the defence would have been, how on earth could anyone plan to kill someone with an atomic wedgie? I rest my case.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Case closed.
I'll
I think
capture your honour.
I think the journalist has left out some nuggety details. There's a lot between the initial argument to the point where the elastic band of his underwear was over his head and around his neck. Let's just do one of those, like, you know, when they do in the courtroom where they've got like a stick or a laser pointer and they're trying to, so the band of his underwear, while the gusset was still in place, right, came up. So this would have meant that the underpants would have stretched to what, 80 centimeters, in old talk, 2 foot, before the underpants just gave way. And like I said, my underpants just fall apart just from walking around.
Do you think the prosecution had a series of boards prepared that he displayed in the court, which is kind of like diagrams, like on the back of when you get into an airline, the safety instructions, those diagrams that I'm talking about, which map out how the asphyxiation by atomic wedgie occurred? Or conversely, the defence lawyer had the same prepared, showing how it couldn't be. It wasn't possible.
Maybe the prosecutor was showing how that the particular underpants that what's his name, Mr. Sinclair, was wearing was of a very high quality and a very high thread count, where it could have sustained that kind of stretching to have made it up past the waist, all the way up the back, over the head, and then around. That's what it says, over his head and around his neck. I mean,
we're asking a lot of the underpants.
This underpant elastic went on quite a journey.
Because there's two requirements we're asking of the underpants here. One, not to break, and two, to stretch to that degree.
To that, I know. I think this case needs to be retried. #free Brad.
Let's start a true crime podcast. Rozelle, can you look that up? Yes.
Get on that.
Rozelle, thank you. Forget about the Danishes.
She's nodding through the glass. Yeah.
She's nodding through the glass. That's great news. Although I found another article here. It says that the prosecution's case was it should be considered premeditated murder and not manslaughter, because the underpants in question were gifted to St. Clair from the son-in-law the night before.
Is that
planned
for real? Sorry, Kelso. You can't introduce new evidence into a case like that.
Case closed, Your Honor. No more questions.
Hey guys, So, girls can get wedgies too, but apparently it's called a veggie. The ladies at the gym next door told me, and then demonstrated it. On me. Long story short, I'm not going to be in today. Okay, bye.
Cohen, are you still there?
I'm still here, yeah.
Excellent, because Rozelle is definitely still here. She's sitting on my lap. And she's given me this link here. Let's see what this is all about. 2 drunk Amish men ran from cops after being caught drinking and driving in their decked-out horse-drawn buggy.
Decked out?
Decked out. It was
what, with like subwoofers kind of thing. I mean,
well,
does it do that thing like where the back wheels bounce up and down?
Lowers up and down like gangster style. Yeah.
Yeah.
Weird Al Yankovic's Amish Paradise does spring to mind. Well, I did actually paraphrase the heading, so I'll read the whole thing. 2 drunk Amish men ran from cops after being caught drinking and driving in their decked-out horse-drawn buggy, complete with built-in stereo system. So you were right.
What were they listening to, I wonder?
I wonder if we're going to find out here.
Okay, well, I hope, yeah.
All right, well, this is interesting. This is an interesting article because they've got the headline, and then they've got like 5 or 6 bullet points, which I'm going to assume summarize the story, and then the story.
Right, well, that's the Amish way.
Apparently. Okay, here we go. The pair are still on the run after fleeing the contraption. I like the use of that word, the contraption. You think
Still on the run. That's the part that's got me. Still on the run. Just look for the 2 Amish guys. How many?
They all look the same,
could there be? The guy with the beard, no moustache.
Is that right? You're right. When I think of an Amish people, no moustache. Never noticed that before.
That's right.
Do they sometimes even like shave the bit on their chin, and it's like one of those beards that's like an underbeard?
No, I think it's like a front. This is why I thought of it once. It's like a front mullet. You know what I mean? Like, so it's business at the top, party at the bottom.
Business at the top, barn building at the front.
Barn raising, yeah.
Barnstorming, okay.
Not to be confused with barnstorming. Yeah.
Yeah, do you think it would be difficult for an Amish pair to go on the run? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I think the first thing you do is shave their beard off.
Go English, as they say.
Yeah, take the hat off and open the top button. You know, your best chance.
Put on a Def Leppard t-shirt.
The thing is, what's funny is I'm sure when they got to their, they ran off and they had a getaway buggy.
Well, it would have been difficult. They would have the getaway buggy in the same area as they were like flaunting their or drink driving their other buggy.
Oh.
Wow. Anyway,
Yeah, okay,
the pair
right.
are still on the run after fleeing the contraption. Yeah, I'm thinking the journalists thought, I can't use the word buggy again. I've just used that twice. Buggy, thesaurus, contraption. Loving it.
Contraption, yeah. Dirigible.
The pair are still on the run after fleeing the contraption when the cops spotted them drinking and driving. Now, he's put driving in quotes, so when the cops spotted them drinking and driving around the town of North Bloomfield. It was 1 o'clock in the morning. Okay.
Oh, the Amish are out of control up there.
Oh, at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, right. Straight out of Bloomfield.
Crazy hour. They discovered several open bottles of alcohol inside the buggy, as well as a 12-pack of Michelob Ultra on its top. They must have forgotten about that. Forgotten to put that in the buggy.
You sure these guys were just regular dudes dressed as Amish people?
Or regular dudes who fucking stole an Amish buggy. That sounds more like it. They've you can imagine two deadbeats who got a ride down to the off license, or the liquor store in the US. With his mum on her way to work, but obviously they never ride back. So what do? Steal a
buggy.
Yeah, steal a buggy. Deck it out.
Easiest thing in the world. Yeah.
Yeah. Bottles of alcohol in the buggy and accidentally leave a 12 slab on top. I've done that before.
How many horsepower was the buggy?
That's a very good question.
I think it was one.
At least one.
One horsepower.
It's possible it could have been two.
Well, it has to be at least one. Scientifically, it has to be at least one.
If you've got a 0 horsepower buggy, it's possible, but there's no way you're being arrested for drunk driving.
Well, a 0 horsepower buggy is just a chair.
Or a caravan. All right, now, going back to my point about the journalist reaching for the thesaurus, check out the next sentence. Right. The officers also discovered that the equine-powered vehicle also featured a large built-in stereo system. The equine-powered vehicle.
This guy, he is on fire.
All right, so let's recap. We've got buggy, contraption, and equine-powered vehicle. Or do you think we're going to get a fourth in this article?
I hope we get a fourth.
We're going to have to read to the end. I don't always read to the end.
Yeah.
Okay. The office also discovered that the equine-powered vehicle also featured a large built-in stereo system. While Amish people use some forms of electricity, including lights to power their horse-drawn buggies, that doesn't make sense.
No, I mean, maybe they need lights to light up, to illuminate their...
Maybe they have to have, by legislation...
By law,
lights
yeah.
To be on the roads. Anyway, while Amish people use some forms of electricity, the use of the stereo system would almost certainly be frowned upon by the Amish community at large. Oh my, these guys were outliers.
I know, and I bet there's no mention in the article about what music they were playing. I know I said it before, but that's the thing that intrigues me the most. I mean, they were already breaking several rules, but do you think their musical tastes were also as gangster? Or do you reckon they were just listening to John Denver?
Well, what would be permissible, do you think, in the Amish community at large? What could they be playing up there? Schubert?
Ooh, yeah, maybe it was. Maybe they were blasting a little bit of Tchaikovsky.
Now, this has put lie to our possibility that it was stolen by some deadbeats, because this Amish equine-powered vehicle, this contraption, if you will, obviously had this stereo system built in. So obviously these guys are ne'er-do-wells. Okay, so
the edgy Amish.
The edgy Amish. Okay. All right, goes on to say consumption of alcohol is outlawed. After the men fled the scene, police had the buggy towed. And they managed to find locals to take care of the horse. Oh, there you go. It's a one horsepower then. They managed They managed to find locals to take care of the horse until the owners came forward.
Right. Okay.
That's it. And regrettably, they had no mention of what they were playing. Oh no, hang on, and more here. Let me just skim through. Carry the two. No, sorry, dear listener, no mention of that. But there is a picture of at least two Amish men, and I can confirm that neither have moustaches.
But a beard, though, right?
They've got a big beard, big shaggy beard. But they also, they do seem to have the bit just under the lip, the bottom lip, shaved as well.
Right, so no soul patch.
They like a low beard.
Yeah, which is fair enough,
Yeah,
because again, that's where all the fun is in facial hair, the mo and that bit underneath the lip.
Let's face it.
Yeah. The boring part is all the rest, which is why they go for it.
Are you saying the Amish are concentrating on the boring parts?
Yeah, if it's fun, they don't like it,
Yeah, apart from these two chaps.
Oh, these guys... They were the Rat Pack of the Amish community.
Now, this stereo system, which has been literally, there's photographs of it, built into the buggy. Now, they must have spent some time doing this. How do you think they kept this concealed? Because, you would have had to be doing some work on that.
I just want to see a photo of it. Is there a photo there, Kelso?
There is a photo, yep.
Of the stereo system?
Yes, yep.
You can't describe it. Can you describe it to me?
Okay, well...
And the dear listener.
The buggy seems to be quite small, actually. It's not a full picture of it.
So it's not a shaggin' wagon, which is
on.
disappointing.
What does that mean? +5. It could be 5 photos of the wagon.
Okay.
These are the other photos I saw. It seems to be quite a narrow buggy. Does that make sense? Where it's just got room for 2 people to sit on what looks to be like a felt-covered seat, but then it is covered. And so there's a back and a side to it. And then the speaker in the back is literally the size of a huge concert stack size speaker, but in landscape orientation. Does that make sense? So if you're looking at the front of the buggy, there's a felt seat with enough room for 2 people to sit on. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the speaker on the back is the complete width of this two-seater couch.
Right, and this whole thing is covered. Like they're undercover when they're on.
That's right. It's got little sides. And a little roof as well.
So basically, you're describing an Amish panel van.
Well,
that's a bit of an Australian thing, I think. That's me. It's a shaggin' wagon.
Yeah, it's more like the size of 2 passport photograph booths put together.
It sounds like their hearts weren't really in the whole Amish thing, to be honest, but they just couldn't bring themselves to...
I think they were on their way. I think they're on their way out, and this could have been the final straw.
No, I believe that in the Amish community, you have a thing. I can't remember. There's a word for it. But you get to spend a year being not Amish, and just to see what it's like. And then, if you don't like it, you can come back. And often they do come back.
I think
and
you're
maybe
right.
Maybe this is their attempt to go out there and cruise for some chicks. We got ourselves a sweet stereo. We got ourselves a 6-pack of Michelob. Let's hit the town.
We're on our way to being English. See ya, losers.
Bye.
Hello, no one is available to take your call. Please leave a message after the tone.
Hey guys, funny story. Ages ago I had a big crush on this Amish guy. I thought we really hit it off. Anyway, I gave him my number and he never called me back. What's all that about? I sound like you guys. Maybe I should be doing the podcast. Okay, bye.
Cohen, Rozelle has left the building. There's not much point us hanging around anymore. What I'm trying to say is it's time to stop the show. And how do we stop the show?
We stop the show with a showstopper, and that is a song that we like to play. Maybe it has some kind of reference to something we were talking about throughout the episode, or maybe it's something that you, dear listener, could recommend, and I just play it just for the heck of it. But tonight, I think in one of our little news articles, courtesy of Rozelle, there was a mention of Def Leppard. And, well, I mean, how could you pass up that, you know? So,
and we will not.
We will not. I will never pass up a Def Leppard opportunity. So here we go. I'm going to deconstruct a Def Leppard song. Love is like a bomb, baby, come and get it on. Living like a lover, like a reader phone. Looking like a tramp, like a video van. Demolition room, wanna be your man, yeah. Razzling, dazzling, fashion little light. Demolition, baby, make me go all night. Sometime, anytime, sugar me sweet. Little Miss Innocent, sugar me, yeah. Yeah. Now come on, take a bottle, shake it up, break the bubble, break it sugar on me. In the name of love, pour some sugar on me. Come on, fire me up, pour your sugar on me. I can't get enough, I'm hot, sticky, sweet, from my head to my feet, yeah. Show, queen, mannequin, rhythm of love, sweet green saccharine, listen up, yeah, yeah, oh, come on, take a bite of, shake it up, bring the bubble, break it up, pour some sugar on me, in the name of love, pour some sugar on me. Come on and fire me up. Pour your sugar on me. I can't get enough. Yeah.
Oh, very nice indeed. I did notice...
Very sugared.
Yeah. I did notice you were very sticky from your head down to your feet.
Yeah, like a toffee apple.
Now, what I never understood about that song is what's with the bottle? Why is the sugar in a bottle?
Isn't like sugar sometimes in a sugar shaker that's a glass bottle?
I suppose so. Is that what he means?
Yeah, I guess. Take the bottle, shake it up. I guess he's talking about his penis.
I never thought about that.
I think the whole thing is about, jizz. Right?
No, but then he's asking to pour some sugar on me, on himself. It's very confusing.
Well, I guess it's lady juices then. But the whole thing is just a sticky mess of,
of UK rock. UK
bring a
glam.
towel.
He's also quite. Some of the information he's giving me in that song and to his girlfriend is redundant because he just invited her to pour sugar on him, and then he reports that he's sticky from his head down to his feet. Well, no shit. What did you expect? I shook the bottle.
Yeah, look, I mean, one of the hallmarks of Def Leppard lyrics is a lack of continuity. I'll be the first to agree with that. No doubt.
Well, that's all very well, Cohen, but that does leave our dear listener with one question.
It does indeed, Kelso.
What's all that about?
I will chat to you on the next episode. Don't forget, you can chat to us with any of your story ideas or what's all that about topics, or even showstoppers at podcast KAK at Twitter, and also podcast KAK at gmail.com. Did I get that right, Kelso? I think I might have left out something there.
If Rozelle was here, I'd ask her to check, but she's left.
I don't have the copy in front of me.
Oh, my goodness. If you want to get in the action and Rozelle's inspired you, perhaps you can do as Kerwin said, tweet us at podcast KAK or podcast
I think I got that right.
at gmail.com because we could be, I think we're on the lookout for some virtual interns, would you say, Kerwin?
Yeah, exactly. If anyone has spied a interesting article or story on the internet, send it through to us and we'll give it a spin.
Yeah. It could be anything from someone else's tweet to a news article or who knows what, whatever you might find.
We love Amish stories, as it turns out. We do love the Amish.
Yeah. Any more facts on their beards would be great.
And what they were listening to. Would be good.
Thanks for listening. It really does mean a lot to us. Do tell a friend, as that's how we hope to grow the show. And if you've got time and you're not waiting for the world to end in a small room in a Dutch farm, give us a sweet 5-star review on your podcatcher of choice.
Till next time.
Hooroo.
See you later.